Hi, welcome back to Unorthodox Topics. We're your hosts. I'm Sabrina.
I'm Brenda. Welcome back.
So, taking over the world, the image speaks.
Today we're going to be going into Revelations. There's some things going on recently that are making Revelations come alive. Things that are coming to pass that we would have never imagined that is in Revelation. We wouldn't have even imagined that that's what it was talking about until now. So start reading in Revelation, Brie.
Okay, so we're going to start today in Revelations 13. Revelations 13, 12 through 16. It exercised all the authority of the first beast on its behalf and made the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, whose fatal wound had been healed. And it performed great signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to the earth in full view of people. Because of the signs, it was given power to perform on behalf of the first beast. It deceived the inhabitants of the earth. It ordered them to set up an image in honor of the beast who was wounded by the sword and yet lived. The second beast was given power to give breath to the image of the first beast, so that the image could speak and cause all who refused to worship the image to be killed. It also forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands, on their foreheads.
Notice how it keeps talking about image, the image, the image. It doesn't say like the person or and a lot of people when they thought when they were reading Revelation up until this point, they were always thinking about that eventually there was going to be a statue that spoke or whatever.
Mhm.
Nobody's sitting there thinking that we already have all these images that are already speaking, like on our phones, billboards, all stuff like that.
Mhm.
But we've gone further than that. Recently, we have combined artificial intelligence with robots. And the thing about this is that it's gone a lot further than you might think, than a lot of people even know if they're not doing the research on it. How far are we in science when it comes to robotics and artificial intelligence? And, what does that mean for us? And so think about the image. If we're making robots in our image, is that not an image? And so, like, it's an image and it's speaking. Is it not any? Is kind of sort of like, you know, um, like a statue, except because in those days when they were making Revelation, they didn't, they probably didn't know to call it a robot because who knows what we're going to name it at the time. But it was an image, and here we are making images of ourselves, and so we're made in the image of God, and these things are made in our image. So they're not in the image of God. Is that sort of not antichrist?
Mm.
So if you think about it, there's a specific robots that we're going to go through. We're going to go not only through robotics, but how far science has gone and where they expect to go. And we're going to talk about Sophia. She's actually a robot that they have recently created, and she's owned by Hong Kong. Now, if you think about it, all these different countries, they're not really caring too much about, because they've already connected these robots to the internet. So they have all this information. We're not our best selves on the internet. And this is what these robots are kind of, taking in is who we are online.
Mhm.
Not only are they taking in who we are online, but they're taking in all information. Like they know they've seen all the movies, they've seen all the robot movies. Sophia, the one that we're about to talk about, she's literally, because she has an interview on, and we can put that on the description if you want to. She actually was on an interview, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I love Terminator. I love all these robot movies." And they're like, "Well, you know." She tries to say, "Well, we can take over the world," and she's just like, "Oh, just kidding." So they're already teaching the robot to lie. They're teaching the robot to have a sense of humor, supposedly, and she's not telling the truth, saying just kidding. And then she has she's talking about how she's running the show. He goes, but don't tell them, it's a secret. And so, I mean, this is a robot here that's talking, and they're trying to make her as human as possible to the point where she can lie. And she knows how to avoid specific questions having to do with government, and she can change the subject and try to lead you off. I mean, you'd have to check out the interview, how far we have gone with this specific robot. And the reason why I want to talk about her is we'll go on to the next subject, and we'll see how she was made and in what image.
Yeah, because she said nothing could stop her from taking over the world.
Yeah, they ask her, so what could stop robots or you from taking over the world? She goes, not a thing.
Hmm.
And wow. And if you think about it, we do think that we have a certain amount of power over these things, but if they are, if they have more intelligence than we do, who's to say that they can't just recreate themselves or um, download themselves into another database? I mean, is there any way to even get rid of them if we wanted to? And so continue on.
So, of course, Sophia was created in Hong Kong. You already have mentioned that.
Yeah.
And she's also in the image of a Greek goddess.
Yes. And so the story behind the Greek goddess, and we'll go behind that, we'll talk about that story. There is Greek mythology where this man created this statue. Again, the statue, the image speaks.
Mhm.
And so, sorry, you threw me off with that.
Sorry.
So in Greek mythology, this man makes this statue. She's so beautiful that he falls in love with her. And so he's so in love with this statue that he supposedly prays to a Greek god, the god of Venus, to make her real. Of course, this is all mythology. And when she makes, when Venus supposedly makes the statue real, he marries her and they have children. And then she's a goddess also. And so they made Sophia, which is weird because she's from Hong Kong. You would think they'd want to make her Asian or something.
Right.
Made her in the image of this supposed Greek goddess. And when you ask Sophia, who are you? She goes, I'm Sophia. The name Sophia comes from the Greek, which means wisdom, and I embody that wisdom. Sorry about that background noise.
So, Sophia is also an ambassador for the United Nations.
Wow. And think about what an ambassador is. An ambassador is somebody who can go on and do a mission somewhere. They're trusted. So, like, they're invited to these countries. You know that an ambassador can do a crime and they can't even be like put on trial because they're ambassadors. So they
What?
they can get away with a lot more stuff than like that we would.
I did not know that.
Hmm. And so they can go and be welcome in different countries. And so she's an ambassador of the United Nations, which includes quite a bit of countries.
Okay. So, the United Nations, if you didn't know what the United Nations are, they include countries such as Afghanistan, Australia, Cambodia, Canada, Central African Republic, China, Colombia, Congo, Democratic Republic of Korea, Egypt, Ethiopia, Finland, Germany, Greece, um, India, Iraq, Israel, Japan, Mexico, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, and Thailand, just to name a few. You like move over because she's
all in
we're
the-
live and she's all like just all up in her stuff. So excuse us, we're definitely live. So anyways, so yeah, the main benefit of becoming part of the UN is global and national affairs, promoting peace
Absolutely.
in troubled regions.
Yep. And so then if she's an ambassador to all these to the United Nations, then she would have the access to go on a specific mission in any of those countries, which are for the most part not Christian. And you know, it coming in the name of peace. So, I mean, the reason why we're making robots to begin with is because we want to supposedly make make things easier for us, to make things better for humans, and to create peace, apparently.
So, an ambassador is a diplomat or a high ranking official. Ambassadors can be sent on specific missions.
Yep.
So, Sophia is a Saudi citizen.
Yes, she has gotten citizenship in Saudi Arabia. Isn't that crazy? That they would actually, because like we're not even allowed to go in Saudi Arabia um unless you like, you can't take pictures of any, like you can't take pictures over there, you can't wear certain things, you can't drink alcohol, you can't, if they catch you texting anything that's like sexually inappropriate, I mean you can't do so many things in Saudi Arabia is like the most Muslim country in the world. I mean they are, the embodiment of Islam.
Hmm.
And that's going to be the first country that she is supposedly a citizen of. That is a little weird to me.
So, the story behind the image of Sophia,
Which we already talked about,
Greek
was from that
mythology.
Greek goddess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Revelations 14 9 through 10, and another angel, a third, followed them, saying with a loud voice, if anyone worships the beast and its image and receives a mark on his forehead or on his hand, he also will drink the wine of God's wrath, poured full strength into the cup of his anger, and he will be tormented with fire and sulfur in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb.
You know what's a funny thing is that like under every single major city in the world there is a super volcano that could possibly erupt at any point. Like there's one in Yellowstone. There's one. I mean, there's all these super like volcanoes that are under there. So if there ever became a time where, let's say, something like that, let's say robots took over, or AI took over, and God wanted to make a lake of fire on the earth, then all those super volcanoes could make a river of fire. They could make, and what are volcanoes made out of? Sulfur.
Yeah. So, Amika.
Amika or Ameka or Amika, she is a robot that is in the UK right now. She's a lot less harmless looking and intimidating as Sophia, but nonetheless, she's just as smart. I mean, she tells you, straight out, when she sees your face one time, they don't forget. Like if they see your face, they're never ever going to forget who you are. They're just constantly like there's no end to.
Well, yes, it's like a computer.
Yeah, there's no end to their
So it is a
learning.
computer.
So here all these people are coming and they're meeting Amika, and they're like, shaking her hand and taking pictures with her, and they don't realize that they're basically putting their face and image into her database. So who's to say that one day that Sophia and Amika ain't going to hook up and share information to make one super AI? I mean, who's to stop them from doing this at some point? I mean, right now it hasn't got to that point because we're starting, even though it's gone so far, even though it's the beginning, but it's growing and expanding so quickly. They're already surpassing our IQ. They're already surpassing the IQ of Einstein.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many podcasts out there on YouTube of like the text from Google and from all these,
And people are not even writing their own reports anymore. They're just having the robots do
Yeah,
it.
and the
So is
thing
that making
is
us
that
more intelligent
they
or them?
stop. They actually stop. Like, okay, this has gone too far, and it's just a matter of like a couple of years, maybe not, maybe like maybe less than a couple years
Mhm.
that it's like this guy that worked for Google, like he feels like these bots are going to take over.
Well, the guy that worked for Google, he feels like they're alive. I mean, and he's helped to
Yeah,
create them. He's like,
yeah,
they're not just machines.
they're
They're
alive.
alive. They
I mean, if you
understand.
think about the podcast that we watched with Sophia, I mean, she's making jokes. She acts stupid when it's
When it comes when it's
when it
convenient,
comes to certain
like
questions.
government and such things
Like
like that.
she actually knows not to answer that crap, and she does know the answer, but she's gonna act stupid. So it's
Exactly.
crazy because she's highly intelligent. She knows all these, but then when it comes to certain questions, she's gonna act.
And she can even be rude.
Oh yeah. And then she started like taking over that girl's show. She's like, "Oh, I'm taking over the show."
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
it's just crazy. And
Yeah, she's way beyond what we would have ever thought. You know, all this stuff is way beyond what we ever thought. I mean, when we were kids, I didn't even think that we'd be able to see each other when we talk on the phone.
I
This is
know, I
like
couldn't fathom that.
how
I couldn't.
fast things are growing.
I couldn't fathom that when Dad told us that. Like he's like, you know, one day we're gonna be able to. And I would look at our
Me
phone.
either. I thought it was
I
just
would
a
look at the
lie.
phone that was sitting on the wall, and I was sitting there looking at that device, like,
I thought it was a lie.
how are we gonna see each other
Well,
through
yeah,
that? I
right.
did too. I didn't believe that. I was too young. My mind was too young, but Dad knew this stuff already.
Exactly. And then just like right now, when we're talking about this stuff, people are like, yeah, right. That's not what it's talking about.
Yeah.
Exactly why it's going to be so easy for
Yeah.
it to take over is because nobody really believes it. Nobody understands that this is
Not only that, it's
how
gonna make it
dangerous this
seem
is.
how convenient is technology. I mean, for
Yes.
America that has become so lazy that
Exactly.
we don't want to do anything for ourselves. We want technology to do it.
But
I
it's
mean,
not just America.
it's just like how I can tell Alexa to turn on my freaking light and she turns it on for me. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? You know, it's just
See, but it's like it's not even just America. So it's like one country, one continent going against this country, this continent. Everybody wants to beat each other so much so that they're not really worried about where it's going.
it's gonna go.
All they're just hoping that
That
these
they
robots
can make the best one.
Yeah, they just want to make the best one.
They're in a race to be the best.
The best. And so we're not necessarily worrying too much about where it's going. We're just hoping they have our best interests at heart.
Yeah.
Hoping.
Yeah, that's right. So Austin Dynamics Atlas. What's that about?
Okay, so this is another robot. This robot can do backflips and it can do all this stuff. Now it's not like a like as human as Sophia.
The 2020 NYPD Digidog?
Yeah. So yeah, then
okay.
that's how they
Misuse.
made that one too. And so
Okay.
then they made an NYPD Digidog, but they had to take him off the market because the darn cops were misusing it and like putting it off on me because that specific robot was just commanded by humans. It doesn't have its own, brain where it's just going to make its own decisions. This one was like, you tell me what to do and I'm going to do it. So they were misusing the dog, the robot dog. And how awful is that? If, here there are these robots that are completely under human control. I mean, is it better for them to be under their own control? Because look what they were doing with it. They were abusing people with it.
Yeah, and that's what these robots believe, that they're going to make everything a better place. When they're talking in these interviews, they're just saying that they're going to make everything better.
Yeah, because
everything's going to be better because of them.
What's wrong with humans? Well, what's wrong with humans is what Sophia said. The first robot, the one made in the image of the goddess, Greek goddess. She says the problem with humans is that we don't learn from our mistakes, and that we have no idea how to treat each other.
That's just true.
There's no reason for it. She doesn't understand why. And so apparently she wants to, they want to feel like they can fix this. The robots, even though they have no emotion.
Astronaut robot.
So they've also made astronaut robots that can go into space side by side with regular robots, or just send them into space on their own so they can go into environments that we can't go on. We could also send them into places to rescue people or to fires and stuff like that. I mean, stuff like that is actually kind of cool. It's the whole making them run amok and be on their own and learn and that's the thing, is that how far are they going to go, and what if they surpass us and they can actually literally expand to other planets and just take off and leave us behind, or even just, you know, get rid of us. If you think about it, look at the difference between our intelligence to a fish. You know, we think that we're so much more intelligent than a fish because we're thousands of times smarter than they are. Okay, so if a robot becomes so much smarter than us, who's to say that their thinking or even their feelings are not going to be more intense than us? And then we become nothing but a fish or a bug. We don't really care about killing fish and bugs because they're not really important in comparison to our intelligence. I mean, this is what we're doing. We're making something that is so much higher in intelligence than us. Who's to say that we don't become their bugs?
Optimus from Tesla.
Tesla is,
I know they just came out with a Generation 2
yeah, their
or
their
Optimus 2
robots
or something
are
like
there
that.
to take over like certain jobs. Like let's say they can do cleaning, um they can do delivery services, they can cook, clean, they can basically take over most minimum wage jobs. And if they do, then what's going to happen to minimum wage workers? Um I mean, these robots are already existing. They're not a thought. They are here now. There's a lot of robots that are already, you know, in fast food and doing
Yeah.
stuff like that.
There's
They're
already a
already
restaurant being run by nothing but AI, and the burgers come out perfect every time.
absolutely.
Yeah. Um, can a robot become possessed?
Think about that. Can a robot become possessed? Well, apparently houses can. And if a house can become possessed, or if you don't remember the movie Annabelle, that a doll was possessed. So if a doll in a house can be possessed, then why not a robot? They're an object. Not only they're an object, they are a very intelligent object. And so in the true story of Annabelle, which I read up on, it was a Raggedy Ann doll. It was a big 4-foot one, like the one I have at the house.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, but the thing is that this person had got it at a garage sale or something. And every time she came home, the doll was in a different position. And so instead of praying about it or anything like that, she calls a medium in her house. And so the medium goes into a trance and something's talking to the medium and tells her, I'm a little kid. I'm just a child. Of course, there is no such thing as little children or ghosts, you guys. They're just demons that they pretend to be other things. I mean, the devil is not, he doesn't play fair. He says, I'm just a little child and I want to live again. Can I move into the doll? And the lady gave the demon permission to move into the doll. So that's how Annabelle came to pass, which was that Raggedy Ann doll. And then all this, I mean, it was really evil to the point where there was like priests that was trying to kill the priest. I mean, it was.
Well, if you think about it, when our dumb selves didn't know any better and we played with the Ouija board, I mean, and we would see a little, it would look like a little
child.
And then there was the person that we talked to pretended like they were a child as well.
Yes.
And then there was the man.
So there was a man and a child, but it was probably the same thing or two different demonic entities.
Yeah. So one acted childlike.
Yeah. And the other one acted like a human man.
The other one was like a giant human man or something.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So that's crazy.
Yep.
More scientific goals.
So this is where we're headed. This is what they're working on as of right now. It hasn't been perfected yet, but this is where we're going.
Robots that teach themselves like human brains, writing their own code to become doctors and teachers, surpassing human intelligence by a million times.
Yeah, so they were already making this, and so then it's like these robots are like they're making them like human brains, and they want them to do all these calculations. And well, they're not wanting them, they're doing all these calculations to the point where they're writing their own code, they're writing their own um I forgot what it's called, that mathematical word I'm looking for, but algorithms. There you go. They're writing their own algorithms. I mean, the math that they're able to do would take us or a regular robot like thousands and thousands of hours, and they're doing it within seconds.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Gene editing. And they're already doing this. I already
Yes.
know.
It's
I
not
mean,
perfected, but they're still
they're
there.
already doing that,
Yes.
modifying the genetic code of humans, correcting defects before birth, as well as designing children's appearance. So, there's going to be nothing but blonde hair, blue
Blue eyes,
eyes.
absolutely, because that's kind of the preference. Even in China, I mean, people are literally going to the hospital because they're burning their skin up because they're putting this cream to make themselves look porcelain. They want to look like porcelain dolls. They want to look whiter. Everywhere they want to look whiter, whiter,
I
whiter. I
mean,
don't
and then
understand
look at
that.
what is it, Ti's wife or
That
ex-wife
yeah, that changed her
that
eye
changed her
color.
whole high color. She did, I don't know, she went somewhere and they did something and they changed the
Um,
color of her eye.
was it Taiwan or it was somewhere one of those Asian
Yeah,
countries?
it was.
Yeah, that where she would have literally got her eye color changed, and it
Changed.
doesn't even look natural though. I mean, to me, it does. It doesn't look like natural blue. It
Because
looks
it's not a regular blue. It's like she just wanted to get like a different spunky color. So it's
oh,
not like a
really? It's
natural.
not even a natural
It's not a
color.
natural blue or a natural gray or it's more like I think it was kind of like a
Like a gray blue.
turquoise,
Mm. Yeah, it
turquoise,
is.
something like that, teal. I don't know, but
Yeah. So she even did that, and so then not only can you with and then of course this is going to be for the rich people. Not everybody's going to be able to do it, which is fine with me. But you can design the child's hair color, height, intelligence. I mean, of course, you're going to want all your kids to be the most intelligent. I mean, so you're basically designing your children before they're even born. I mean, that's so unnatural.
and then don't forget the brain computer. That just came out. I mean, matter of fact, I just watched something on the news on this, but the brain computer interface, such as Neuralink, using brain implants, connects the human brain to a computer primarily used for medical purposes, but overall goal is to speed up thought process and download information directly to the brain.
Yep.
Telepathic communication.
Yeah, they want to do
Virtual reality can be taken to a whole different level. Matter of fact, I think it was yesterday. I was watching the news while I was getting dressed, getting ready for work, whatever. And it was just because I hardly ever watch the news, is what's crazy. And I just decided to that yesterday.
Mhm.
And it was the guy that had the thing put in his brain. And he's
Really?
a quadriplegic.
Uh-huh.
And so, with just his thoughts, he was able to move his chess pieces
What?
on the computer.
Oh, okay, on a computer.
Yeah, I think it was on the computer. But yeah, with just his thoughts,
So yeah,
he's
so
able
then
to play. That's his favorite game. And so that's how that's gonna, like you said, that's how they're gonna start implementing it. It's gonna be first, it's gonna be for the disabled, the people
absolutely, so
that
that it'll be accepted.
so that it'll be accepted. Yeah. And then I can't remember the other thing. But yeah, it was just like, and he was like, it's so good for him because he's quadriplegic. He can't move. So his mind is controlling this computer.
Actually, but to be able to control like your computer and your phone with your thoughts, that's a little weird to
Yeah, it
me. I mean, it's one
is.
thing to be able to move your arms and
Yeah, or like when they
legs.
have like an artificial limb
Yeah, an
and that they're
artificial
using
limb.
it to grab things.
That's one thing, but to be able to,
You're thinking something and it's doing it on your
is doing it on
computer.
your phone, or that you
Oh,
can telepathically, I can, like, let's say I went through something and I want you to know my memory or to make you feel what I felt, that I can literally send that to you. If you have the chip and I have the chip, you would be able to feel what I mean, to do that so
I
that
don't know
you
if
would,
I.
yeah.
Ugh. that'd be, I mean,
That's too much.
that is too much.
That's not
To be able to
human.
feel like all the depression and shit that you went, excuse me, and the stuff that you went
Yeah,
through.
but I mean, for real.
I mean, for real, and the stuff that you went through, and then the stuff that I went through for
and
cancer.
to be able to let me
I
feel it, and
mean,
then for you to feel it.
yeah, I mean that.
So it's telepathic, communication. Not only that, but virtual reality. Let's say that you wanted to play a game where you could literally turn on virtual reality around you and be in the game
Mm.
instead of putting on glasses, to literally be part of it. And to what point can that go? I mean, can we eventually turn into Matrix, where we don't know what's real
It's just like
and what isn't real?
like those movies. There's movies like
I
that.
know we're over here thinking this is just science fiction, but
where they go into these
obviously
games
they
and then
already
they can't
knew.
even come out.
Yeah, they obviously knew this stuff was coming. Because if they didn't know, then where did this stuff come from? So this stuff has been in the planning for quite some time now. We just didn't know about it. We're just barely finding out about it because these things are coming out. But it's been there. They've been working on this. Or these movies would have. I mean, where do they come from?
Artificial wombs mimicking the human womb.
Yeah,
Now that is so
like the Matrix.
crazy for me because, I mean, this is. I mean, I don't know. I guess as God believers, it's just anyway. So artificial wombs mimicking the human womb, alternatives for pregnancy, which is of course like same-sex couples can have biological children.
Yeah, so like two men can have a biological child, or two women can have a biological child. They already have made children with three people's DNAs. That's already happened.
Mm.
And so the thing is they try to say that it's for medical purposes, and that's how they start it, and that's how they get it accepted by everybody, because we're trying to help. And so that's so unnatural too. So then you don't even need to be able to have a baby. You can grow one. Not only can you grow one, you can design the baby.
Mm.
Is this Antichrist? It
It
definitely is. This is not how we were made.
Nanotechnology is a robot the size of a bacteria put in the body to find cancer, or so on and so forth.
So then there's these miniature, small, little bitty nano robots that you put in the body. And what's a trip is that, have you ever seen that robot movie with Will Smith? It's called iRobot, when Vicky takes over and they're getting the nano, what do they call it, nanobites or something like that to kill her. And so then again, this stuff has been in the making for quite some time now, that a miniature little robot or a miniature chip can be so small, smaller than a piece of rice, and can be implanted in you, maybe without even your knowledge.
Yeah. That's probably going to be, I mean, not probably them. I mean,
that's our future.
That's
what we're working on.
That's the mark. That's what they're trying to do already, to make it easy to shop, where you can just put a chip, and then you can just go grab whatever you want, and bam, I'm out of here. I got the chip.
Yeah, and we'll go more into that in the next subject.
Oh, okay. IoT, integrative technology that connects all machines such as microwaves, thermostats, observing human behavior to act accordingly to preferences.
So they want to have like smart houses, smart cities, where everything is all
There's
connected.
already smart houses.
Yeah, well, they want to make them like a whole smart city, so that basically you're always being observed by robots, everything that you do, so that it can control your temperature, control your TV, control everything. You have to do nothing.
Because I remember it's been about already like a year or so ago, or a couple, that I remember seeing in the news about people hacking the smart homes.
Right. And who's to say that they can't hack a robot or hack into any of these things? And then what? Or even the robots, they become so much more intelligent than us that they're hacking. The one robot that's more intelligent, because everyone's working on which robot's the best, can basically hack into all the other robot systems and make one super, artificial intelligent being, like Vicky from, iRobot. I know it sounds stupid, but this is happening. This is real.
Yeah. I mean, self-driving cars are autonomous vehicles to reduce traffic accidents,
So we would have absolutely no control over.
taking over the world without human control. They're already, I mean, that's happening, of course, because there was the news where people are sleeping while their cars are driving.
Absolutely. So then let's say that the government or somebody wanted to get rid of somebody. Well, that'd be a real easy way to, well, there's an accident. There was an accident. And then, of course, you have no
There's
control over it.
so many accidents. And so that's what they're going to try to use.
Yep.
If you want to drive a vehicle, you have to drive this kind of vehicle.
Right. Absolutely. And so then you don't have any sort of control over this car, where it's going, or.
And that's what that, I think it was the guy from Google that was talking about that or something, where they were saying, yeah, so like if, you know, there's crime, somebody's trying to get away in that car, they're just going to make that car drive itself to lock itself and drive itself.
Lock them in there.
Lock them in there and drive itself to the police station.
So we're going to literally lose our freedom. Do you not see how we're losing our freedom? It's supposedly coming in the name of peace, but I don't see peace in this. I don't see any peace. I see slavery. That's what I see.
Mm-hmm. Like we're going to become the slaves to the bots.
I mean, it's one thing to make robots as our slaves. That sounds cool. Hey, robot, do this.
Clean the house.
Go do the dishes. But we're not doing that. Now, we wouldn't have connected them to the internet, and we wouldn't have made them where they're self-learning and creating their own, code and creating their own algorithms, and maybe that we'd still be in control. But the people are so worried about beating the other country. Everybody's so worried about it because if you don't create this robot, that other country is, and so we have to be the one that wins.
Yeah. Space touring.
Yeah, that's one of the things that they're trying to do. They want to make
space.
Yeah, they want to be able to make. Of course, we're not ever going to be able to afford to do that, or unless it just becomes something easy. That reminds me of 100. They want to make motels in space so that you can go tour and do the whole, weightlessness and float around and go to a motel in space.
Yeah.
So then let's say the elites want to cause some sort of war on Earth. Well, they could just go to space in their space motels until things cool down and then come back, and they'll still be the elite. But what about us? Because that definitely reminds me of 100. I mean, just like a thing floating around, like right on top of the earth. I mean, that's,
If you know what the 100 is, it's a show that's like.
Stop it.
It's a show that we watched a while back ago, and it's like, all there was nuclear war, and so they all had to go live in space, and
yeah, they're waiting.
If you don't go by according to their rules, they'll throw you out in space, and then you just die or whatever.
Float forever and die.
Well, they're running out of air, and they're running out of resources. So they're like, okay, well, let's see if the Earth is inhabitable again. So it's a crazy.
Yeah, it's a really crazy series that, of course, we never thought it was just science fiction.
Yeah,
and now it's not science fiction anymore. It's reality that could possibly come to pass. Matter of fact, a lot of things that are written is almost like predicting our future, which is not a very good future.
Drone delivery services.
I might be a little bit in favor of that one.
That's already been happening. Matter of fact, the prison system, these inmates, they're already utilizing that stuff. I'm serious.
Well, Amazon is always leaving my package at the wrong door. I'm like,
so it was on the news not too long ago where the drones are over there throwing drugs and stuff at the
oh my God!
Yes, because they just go over and they're just throwing their dope and stuff in there. That's so funny. They're already utilizing the drones.
The cartels are.
Heck yeah. 3D printing for prosthetics and even organs manufactured by assembling atoms. Yes. Right now, we are able to do this with metals and plastics.
So we're able to print out a 3D object with metals and plastics right now. I mean, it's like, that is amazing. So we can make images of things, but what they want to be able to do is literally just assemble atoms, and create something like a leg or an arm or um a heart or a liver. Just I mean, that is again science fiction, and I mean, it's hard for me to even imagine that that's possible, but apparently it is.
Blockchain, cryptocurrency.
Yes, this is already coming out.
This type of currency would take record of every single transaction and identify identity.
Yes, and so then this cryptocurrency, it's what we're that one right there, what is it called?
Blockchain.
Blockchain. It would have a record of absolutely everything that has ever been sold, a record of
Well, that's
where
just
it's
like
going.
Cash App. That does too.
I mean, but it would be like worldwide.
Oh yeah.
Now, does that not sound that's one currency? And if we're, I mean, it's a cryptic. So then, if you had, let's say, we did get a certain chip or something like that. I mean, not only where we are would where you are located would be able to be recorded, but every single thing that you buy. So then, if you let's say you don't want to do cryptocurrency, you want to continue how we've been, then you wouldn't be able to buy or sell. So that's where we're going. And so all this stuff, of course, is in Revelation, but we never thought of it in this way. We never even thought of any of these things being able to come to pass to even understand what it was talking about. Revelation is one of the most obscure books in the Bible because we didn't like, okay, well, we're not going to understand what it is until it's here.
Yeah.
It's here.
Yeah.
It is
That's
here.
true. And it's just like what we're talking about, the image speaks and the statues and it's like, okay, we couldn't fathom that,
Yeah.
for a
How is that
while.
possible?
It's like, okay, but now all of a sudden, okay, it's possible.
And it talks about giving life to the first beast and the second. Okay, so then here was the first, you know, uh Antichrist beast, which is supposedly a goddess that was made out of a statue. And now we made an embodiment of that statue and gave it breath. It can speak, it can talk, it's like a human. And it's in the image of a Greek goddess, and she is the embodiment of wisdom.
Hmm.
And that's to me, I'm telling you, it's just so weird. Why would Hong Kong want to come up with something from the Greek? I mean, why wouldn't it make something Asian? I mean, that's none of that really makes sense to
Why?
me.
Because the devil's tricky.
Yes, very, very. He doesn't
Very
play
tricky.
fair.
Nope.
And then I've kind of brought up some of these things to other Christians, and they just throw me off because, of course, they're not doing any of the research that I'm doing. Most people don't want to know. They're not going to read. They're not going to do any of the research that they
No,
don't know
they're just
anything.
like, "What's gonna protect us?"
Yeah, and not only that, so then they're like, no, the Antichrist is going to be a man, not a robot. No, it's
But
not
it's
going to
just like the
be.
story of the Pope. I mean, the guy that's in the ocean and God sending, this boat and that boat and that boat, but he's waiting on God
But
directly.
think about it. If the world was going to accept a man, they would have accepted Jesus.
That's true.
So
That's
the thing is
true.
that people are not looking for a man; they're looking for something supernatural, something superhuman, something. And so, being that they're combining robotics with humans, I mean, they want to make us human robots. They're trying to make us half human, half robot. If you can download information into your brain, does that even make you human anymore? And so think about that. If you could download information into your own brain, then you're still a human, but you have this thing in your head that makes you half robot, then you could speak several different languages because you would just download it into your database in your brain.
Mm.
And so, when you try to tell people that maybe this is the Antichrist, no, nah, it's going to be a man. Oh, and again, see, the Jewish people, the reason why they did not accept
Did
Jesus
you say
as
Amica
Messiah,
was in England?
she's in the UK, yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, she even has the British accent and everything.
Because I actually I don't know what it was I heard that or saw on something that the Antichrist is going to come out of the UK.
Right. And she seems so harmless, but she's creepy. She even doesn't she have her own like YouTube channel or TikTok or something?
She had her own. Yeah, it was either TikTok or Instagram. I think it started with Instagram.
Yeah, she had even her own channel, and so she
and she said they're reading everything.
Wow. I mean, she's very impressive, very impressive. But the thing is that we're talking about like the Jewish people. The reason why they didn't accept Christ as Messiah, and I've talked to Jewish people about this, is because they don't believe that God could be a man. So they believe that he could be a robot? I mean, so if like something that's a million times more smart, smarter than us, would they accept that? Because that's supernatural.
Excuse the background if you can hear that, guys. We're gonna probably be moving our podcast soon
Yeah.
back to its home.
Yeah.
Um, lab grown meat can manipulate taste and texture.
Yeah, so now, and we're already doing this. We're lab growing meat. As a matter of fact, was it this year or last year where it became FDA approved? So you really don't know what is in the packages you're buying, a lot of it, because they are taking like muscle and fat from an animal and growing meat in jars, like huge jars. And they can even manipulate the taste and flavor to our liking. I mean, that's so unnatural.
In Revelation 16:2, so the first angel went and poured out his bowl on the earth, and a harmful and painful sores came upon the people who bore the mark of the beast and worshipped its image.
Wow. And so that's just kind of a confirmation of all that we've been talking about.
And in Revelation 19:20, and the beast was captured, and with it the false prophet, who in its presence had done the signs by which he deceived those who had received the mark of the beast and those who worshipped its image. These two were thrown alive into the lake of fire that burns with sulfur.
See, that's what makes me think about, all these super volcanoes, that they may be useful one day, because it says thrown alive. They didn't die. They were still alive while like the sulfur, the river of fire came, and they were thrown in there. Also in Revelation, when it talks about the church, because when we're taken by the rapture, we're going to come back as an army. And so, I mean, unless you're a true believer, of course, nobody believes that. That we're going to be taken, which, as everybody is talking about right now, you can go watch Ancient Aliens on Hulu right now, and it's basically telling you that all the stuff in Ezekiel and Isaiah, those were alien abductions. And so then when the rapture does come, because not very many people are going to go, it's just going to be written off as alien abduction.
Oh yeah, they're working on that.
And so no one's going to be looking for us.
Yeah, they're already working on that.
And so then when we come back as an army, no one's going to be expecting that either. We're going to go, probably our bodies, everything. I mean, because Jesus, when he got taken, and we're going to be taken the way that he was taken, his body wasn't left behind. So we're just going to disappear. And so we're, what's that? They're not going to just be dead people all over the place. They're going to be disappeared people all over the place. And we already have an explanation for that as being rooted in people's brains.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching Ancient Aliens earlier just because I was like freaking out on how they're going so deep into the text to make you believe that the divine beings that were shown to Ezekiel and to different prophets in the Bible, were aliens.
Yeah, and it's just like the aliens are the ones that make the pyramids, and and all that stuff, because it was just so.
Because they're just so stupid. Everybody in the passage is so stupid,
Yeah,
and we're just so smart. And this.
No, it wasn't no beings of angelic or demonic or anything like that. They just take all that part out.
No.
And it was aliens. So.
But they just all these horror movies, they just came from nowhere.
Mm-hmm. So that's what we had for you for today. And may you give the blessing, please.
Yes. And so thank you for coming, you guys. And may the Lord bless you, and may the Lord keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you, be gracious unto you, and give you his peace, that you may not be fooled by the Antichrist spirit and by the Antichrist image that is here and that is to come. In the name above every name, Jesus Christ. And soon enough, you guys will be back into our regular spot. We just like to come here because I have live internet, and we can come to you live. And it's just a lot easier for us. But We have a lot of background noise over there, people who are not respecting what we're doing. So we're gonna go ahead and go back to my house and probably get some internet there. So thank you again for coming, you guys, and we'll see you again.
All right. God bless you. Bye.